live. Let's see, it's sending data to YouTube, to Facebook, and to Facebook. We're streaming.
I'm laughing because Julia Utley just sent a message to the Talkin' Toast Facebook account and said, if this ever falls on April Fool's Day, you should rename it Toast and Toast and air 30 minutes of a piece of toast on a plate.
Welcome to Toast and Toast.
Toast and Toast. I love it. I love it.
No
or we
talking.
should just do that on a random Tuesday.
Just toast.
Toast and Toast.
Toast and Toast.
Oh my gosh. Hey,
Let
everybody.
us know where you are viewing from tonight. We are so glad that you have joined us on Talkin' Toast.
Toast and Toast.
Toast and Toast.
So you have a minute. We start officially at 8:28. You have a minute to grab a friend, grab a drink, but don't grab your friend's drink unless you are bringing it to them.
That's right. That's right. And I'm going to go share this.
Yep.
And
you are welcome to do so too. If you feel like this is a meaningful thing to you, go ahead and share it out to all your friends.
Led.
Come on now. If you enjoy watching us jab at each other, and at just the general whatever this is.
You know, we have a good time.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
This,
and I'm wearing my Lily sweatshirt tonight.
Yeah.
My
I love
Lily.
that sweatshirt.
My Lily.
Yeah.
This is a sewn, embroidered version of our Lily. And it even has, on the side, it has Lily Mama. So, it's cozy clothes season.
It is.
I made the mistake of going out in my shorts tonight to walk Lily.
Was it cold?
It was very cold. It was not that cold earlier. So
Well,
here we are.
let us know what it's like where you are. I'm going to
Yep.
turn this back toward me just a little bit.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I'm going to share it now that you're paying attention.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Let us know where you're viewing from tonight. This is Talkin' Toast. This is a podcast, I guess. I don't know what you call this genre.
I have been describing it as a live podcast.
A live podcast. Okay. A live podcast that takes place on not a pod platform.
A live anti-podcast.
But I don't like the thank you, Julia Utley. I like and
And
Chantel. Yeah, thank you.
I think it's
I got
cute,
the
too.
yeah, got buzzed. Yeah, so it's not on the normal podcast channels. But I don't like the vlog, the video log.
Yeah.
I don't like that. So I don't know. I think we just call this a video podcast.
We're
A live
it's
video podcast.
It's an anti-podcast.
Judy Calvert's watching from Texas.
Cheers, Judy!
Cheers to Judy. Judy, thank you for Revolver Brewing.
And recreational grade haze.
Yes, thank you so much.
Community beer company. I think we had a community beer company last week too.
I think we did too.
Yeah,
and
that's a good one too.
this one, I love this one. The it's so good.
It's it tastes like a fall beer.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the
I like it.
spices and
It's
whatnot.
perfect.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, yeah. So we pull back the curtain on the creative process that is the sermon writing process, and
But just creativity in general.
creativity in general. And we talk about
Spirituality.
life and spirituality, and then what's kind of coming up in the lectionary. A lot of times is what we eventually focus on, and we talk about what's going on in life.
And sports sometimes.
Yeah, and sports that pops up. I didn't pull up the Clemson game over here, but I won't check the score until the very end.
Yeah.
But if
Smart.
my Tigers are watching, which you shouldn't be, you need to be
They need to
Eastern
be
Kentucky.
Playing
you need to be playing basketball
and not watching Talking Toast.
right. But I know all Tigers watch Talking Toast.
Yeah, that's
right?
what happens.
Yeah. So Bill came in. Hey, Bill, and Judy's here, and Chantel and Julia. We got a good crowd
stuff.
already.
It was good stuff. We start every week by asking a simple question, which seems simple at the outset. But in a week like we've been through, it may not be as simple. So here's the question. What is sustaining you? What is saving your life today? What is that 808 beat that's moving you forward through life? What is sustaining you?
What is sustaining you?
What's sustaining you?
I can name a few things.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed running yesterday with you.
That was fun.
And that was nice. I'm feeling it today, I'll be honest with you. So, yeah, I
I convinced him to run with me.
Yeah. And I'm going to do this half marathon. I'm going to go sign up for it.
Hey-o.
Tomorrow or tonight, whenever.
All right.
So I'm really excited about that. So that's been fun. The other thing that's sustaining me is just music in general. I went down this path tonight. I haven't listened to a lot of Death Cab for Cutie. I don't know if there are a lot of Death Cab for Cutie fans out there that are also Talking Toast people. But
you just dated yourself.
I did. But they came out with an album in 2015. So first off, the title of tonight's show is the lyrics, the first verse of this song called Tourist. It's when there's a burning in your heart, don't be alarmed, let it burn. Chantel said, yes, we are. I had a feeling.
Yes.
It's a great song. And then I saw on the YouTube list that their album Kintsugi comes out in 2015.
Oh, in 2025?
No, in 2015, because it was an older song.
Okay,
Codes
got
and
it.
Keys was the name of the album that was on, but it
Okay.
talked about Kintsugi coming out. And I thought, oh my gosh, like that predated us finding out about Kintsugi.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. So anyway, I've got to go back and listen to that album. And
So kintsugi is this Japanese art of mending things, where they take flecks of gold and infuse them into cement, basically, to mend ceramics together. So we have this beautiful communion set that John's mother gifted him for his ordination. And John's wife, 10 years later during the pandemic, knocked it off the table while we were setting up for worship. And so then I learned the kintsugi method by putting that communion set back together. Which I did a pretty good job
you
with
did a
it.
great job with it.
And I think it's even prettier now.
I think it is too. And I think that's something really neat about that art.
Yeah.
Is that it takes something that's broken and something new is birthed out of it. So we'll come back to that.
Yeah,
But
to be
that's what's
continued.
sustaining me. What is sustaining
Right.
you?
Well, excuse me. Apparently I'm tired. So I finished a book yesterday that I've been working on since like August. Matea Ascaripour, This Great Hemisphere. I actually got to know him a little bit with his last book. Fantastic author. This is his second book. It's kind of a speculative fiction book set 500 years in the future. But I just got so much joy out of reading this book. It speaks to our current situation. It follows this young woman named Sweetmint, who is an invisible person. And in the society at the time, they have dominant people who have skin and you can see them. And then they have invisible people. And there's like this whole system of oppression of the invisibles, and so the book follows this community of basically a hemisphere as they're going through an election, a new election, because their previous chief executive Rytel was assassinated. And so it's this whole fascinating story that really examines the role of oppression and marginalization and power and elections. Anyway, so great book. I'll be writing about it on my Substack that I am getting up and running. So more news on that later.
Yeah, I feel like we've got a couple things like that.
We got a couple
that have been
little things
giving a lot of life and a lot of excitement, and and there's more on that
on
to
the way.
come.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm really excited about one of those, and I don't want to ruin it tonight.
I'm really excited about one of those, not your Substack, is what you're saying.
No, I didn't say that at all.
Okay.
One of those is yours.
Yes.
And I feel like one of this was kind of birthed out of one of my ideas.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about those.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yep.
This is gonna be a good creative time.
Yeah. Creativity is gonna be the birth of resistance. It's gonna have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are resisting all that is bringing us down, you know?
Yeah.
All the things. So, tonight, we would love to know what is sustaining you. If you have a moment, and you could type in, let us know what's sustaining you. Maybe let us know where you are located tonight. Let us know what the temperature is outside, because all of a sudden it got cold.
Yeah.
Like it felt like the wind was blowing a little bit and you have to put on pants. And yeah.
I just want to say I am wearing shorts and you are wearing pants.
I know.
This is a little bit of a thing.
I was working right up until the bell for going to pick up Sophie. So
I worked through the bell, so there's that.
Yeah, but you can hide your pants.
I
I
know.
Yeah. Well,
it looks like Chantel, I just want to lift that up. Chantel has her last day of work. Had her last day of work today and starts her new job tomorrow. That is fantastic, and we're cheering you on.
Yes, absolutely.
What a great, that's awesome.
And your mom said they're getting ready to go on a trip. That's really exciting.
Yep.
I think you said 1,800 countries that you're headed to.
1,800 countries.
1,800,
Yeah,
19,
that's it.
16,
1900.
17, 19.
Yeah.
That's great. That's really exciting. And Judy Calvert said it's 60 in Dallas right now.
Ooh, that's cold for Dallas.
It is 46 and clear in Catonsville.
Yeah.
It's getting cold.
It's getting chilly.
It's getting cold. Low of 39 tonight. All of a sudden. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like one day.
Yeah.
One day more. So, tonight we are going to talk about, is it Mark 13, 1 through 8? Okay, I didn't know if that was updated from last week. Whenever we get into Mark, sometimes I can't remember the numbers. Or actually, whenever we get into any book, I can't remember the numbers.
I updated it.
Thank you for updating that. Mark 13, 1 through 8. And in this text, since you're kind of focused, it seems, more on the exegetical side of this, would you kind of give us a little bit about the text, and then I can riff off that?
Yeah, so this is a story.
Riff.
Yeah. This is a story where, so it takes place, Jesus has come into Jerusalem. You know, we've got the two parades, the subversive one and the big one, the royal parade on one end, and Jesus's little subversive protest parade on the other. So they come in, and immediately Jesus goes straight for the temple. So at the temple, we find him last week. We found him last week, I suppose. He cleanses the temple. He comments on how the scribes are walking around with their fancy words and long-winded prayers. Meanwhile, there comes the widow who just puts in the 2 coins, and she is the image of faithfulness. So we came in subversively. We're like doing this like really big time resistance, clear, obvious resistance in the middle of the temple in very public manner. And so then Jesus steps away from the temple, and this text takes place as he is sitting there, and I just imagine like he and his disciples debriefing the whole experience. They've just been into the temple, they've turned stuff over, quite literally, and the clash is so obviously coming to a climax. The clash between Jesus's vision for the kingdom of God versus the empire's vision for the kingdom of Caesar. Right? So they're coming to a clash, and that clash is kind of at this moment of reckoning. And Jesus looks at the temple and says, these stones will be thrown down. Which is like egregious to say, right? Because that is the place where the Jewish faith revolves around that. Now, remember, this is the second version of the temple to be built. Mm-hmm. The first version came down with the Babylonians, with their invasion, and then the exile after that. And so this version of the temple, they were very proud to rebuild it eventually, and so it's up, and they're proud of it, and Jesus is like, yeah, that's coming down too, which would have made some people mad. Mm-hmm. And so his disciples start asking about, like, what's behind that, Jesus, and he says, look, this is just kind of a foretaste of what's to come. There's gonna be some hard stuff coming our way, and this is but birth pangs. And so basically it's this kind of apocalyptic story to kind of bookend his time in the temple.
Mm-hmm. I love this, and it ends with that. As all these things are happening, pay attention, but these are just the birth pangs.
These are just the birth pangs. I love that little guy flipping the table.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For a second there, I thought it was somebody sitting by the temple, like pointing to the temple. I thought this was the temple, not the table. Mm-hmm. So I love that. Julia said seeing the mountains in Vermont, New Hampshire, how beautiful that is. Judy said stepdaughter and grandkids coming with one great grandkid. That's awesome. That's awesome. Bill Harding said our granddaughter-in-law is doing well after brain surgery. That's good things. There are good things that are happening in the midst, and it's hard to recognize sometimes with all the stuff of life what those good things are. Mm-hmm. And in this passage, Jesus is talking about you're going to go through some hard times. There's hard things coming along. Mm-hmm. These are just the birth pangs. And I don't know where I'm going completely with this sermon on this. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that sticks out to me, and we've talked about this over and over again, and every church conference you go to, they bring up Phyllis Tickle. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because we went to go hear Phyllis Tickle, and then she passed away right before. Was it right? It
was her husband who was put into hospice right before we saw her.
That's right. Yeah. And she wasn't able to come.
She wasn't able to come because
and then she passed away shortly after that. Yeah, that's right. But Phyllis had just come out with this book. I just forgot the name of the book. The Great Emergence. Thank you. That talked about...
Books are my love language.
That's right. It talked about every 500 years, in particular in church history, every 500 years, the church has this great rummage sale. Mm-hmm. So at around this 500-year mark, and it's not like clear. It's not like, oh, from this year to this year, this is where it happens and the rummage sale takes place. No, there's this like transition. There's this birthing process where other things are discarded and other things are birthed into newness, into fullness. And so I think about this, and so they've been talking about this as Phyllis Tickle, and so this was probably 15 years ago now that she came out with that book, I think. Mm-hmm. So they've been talking about that ever since. And basically we're in the middle of one of those 500-year things with the church.
For reference, 500 years after kind of the birth of Christianity, we had many significant church councils. The Council of Nicaea happened in 313-ish. But from about 300 to 500, Christianity was really being formed and founded, for lack of a better term.
And not just formed and founded, but like influenced by the empire. It became accepted by the empire. And that's
what I meant by formed.
Yeah.
1054 is the Great Schism, so that's when Eastern and Western Christianity, at the time Catholicism, split from each other. Then 500 years later, around 1500s, then we have the Reformation with Martin Luther. And so around 2015, we celebrated the 500-year anniversary of the Reformation, which means another 500 years has passed. And guess what? We're due for a rummage sale.
Yeah, we're in the midst of that. But I love that she calls that the rummage sale, because you can find some really good things in the rummage sale.
Heck yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like
you're getting rid of things because they're bad.
No.
Yeah.
And there's a sale. There's a sale. A sale that takes place, right? Yeah. Like, others are coming and picking things up and trying to decide, oh, is this life-giving to me?
Yeah, exactly.
Does this spark joy, as Marie Kondo would say?
Yeah.
So, in the grand scheme of things, we are part of a universe that is ever expanding. So, as human beings, we're just a blip on this universal timeline. Like, just a blip. A very small blip. And the universe is ever expanding, ever growing, ever birthing. And we're a part of this. And sometimes it feels like our particular part of this becomes so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so
unmanageable.
And yet, we're a blip.
We're a blip.
And the question is, can we find some hope in that? Because things are going to move, things are going to change. Something new is always being birthed. Yep. And in that birthing process, we're called to be midwives. So we're called to help. So I wonder what that looks like.
Yeah. It makes me think about when I went into labor. And I don't know if you remember this, but I had been telling you, like, I was having pains. A blip that's got to pay the bills, though, yes.
Yes.
I had been having pains, like, that whole weekend. Remember, we went to the hospital late on a Sunday night. And I've been having these pains all weekend. And I was like, I don't know. Is this it? No, probably not. And, like, went and walked Lily, schlepped her all around Baltimore, and, it was fine.
You walked 7 miles that day.
The day I went into the hospital in labor.
And Peace came and we ate hot wings.
And we went and ate hot wings with Peace, and she hates hot wings.
We heard that spicy food helps induce labor.
At the Five and Dime.
Five and Dime.
Mm-hmm. R.I.P. It's closed now in Hamden. But, so, all of that to say, like, for weeks, really, because I was having, like, the Braxton Hicks contractions. For weeks, I had these contractions that were like, is this it? Am I getting ready to go into labor? I don't know. We'll see. And I think the same is true of, like, your experiences with kidney stones. Like, am I passing it? We'll see.
Don't bring kidney stones into this.
Sorry. No, but, like, it was that kind of, like, we couldn't really predict it. We could only just kind of, like, go through it and just wait and see.
Just let me tell you why that's a bad metaphor. Because at the end of the kidney stones, there might be some relief, but there's not like a bit of anticipation. You know what I mean? Like,
and there's not a human you have to keep alive.
Right? It's just like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And then it's not.
There's nothing good about a kidney stone.
No.
Sorry, I was trying to, like, make it equitable and, like, relatable.
It's okay. No, there's nothing on my side that's anything like what you went through. It's okay.
All right. Well, anyway, so I just think, like, there's some, like, unknowing that has to happen too with anticipating the birth pangs.
Yeah.
And the rummage sales. Like, is this it? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I think somewhere in there, I'll find something to talk about
Yeah.
with the birth pangs.
Yeah, I
What are you
like it.
thinking about?
Well, I'm thinking about the image of Jesus. It's funny because we have used this text for a stewardship sermon on like which is hilarious because it's like the anti-stewardship sermon because it basically says like, look, your faith is not going to be reliant. You're going to grow out of your reliance on this one place where God lives. And that's going to be okay. And so there's this what is being birthed is also this growth out of reliance on the mediator, which is in this case the temple, the building, the place, the concentrated presence. And so I think that what happens then is we grow as human beings, as spiritual beings, as seekers, as people who are encountering things in our lives that just don't make sense. We grow as human beings when we are not as reliant on that mediator. And I know that's so weird for me to say as a pastor. Like, I am an ordained pastor. I recognize that. There's this like weird codependency that a lot of pastors have on like being needed. But like the ultimate goal is for people in their own spiritual journeys to come to a place where they don't need a mediator. They don't need, whether it be a building or a person or whatever, that you have the tools and the ability to make sense of life. And sure, like there are people around to help with that. But my ultimate goal as a pastor, and I think the idea of this mediating building coming down is to help people grow out of the need, the almost compulsive need for a visible image of this invisible reality of your own spirituality.
I think about going back to the rummage sale, and part of this was Luther's critique of that mediator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
And
so the church was being the mediator, and taking advantage of being the mediator in some ways.
Yes.
At that time, and it's all cyclical too, right? So like, I think there are plenty of churches that take advantage of being the mediator by telling people what to believe, and by telling people how to vote and how to do whatever. But I think that as we mature spiritually, and as we are birthed into this new reality, that the institution and representatives of the institution have failed if we have not equipped our people to have the type of spirituality that can be sustained without a tangible, visible mediator.
Yeah, which is in theological terms a lot of times, well, maybe in church history, church practicality kind of terms, they might say the priesthood of all believers.
Yeah, or
something
freedom
like
of
that.
conscience.
Freedom
or
of
something
conscience.
Like that. Yeah.
And so there's a real balance there with recognizing that, yes, it's your conscience and you're growing into this, and a need of community,
Right.
which I think is a little bit different than needing mediator.
A mediator. Yeah,
Right.
Exactly. That we can have our spirituality and all of this enhanced by community, because of course it is, because you're encountering somebody who has their own unique story and image of God or the divine, or however they conceive of whatever is bigger than them. So you're encountering somebody who has their own kind of image of that, who bears their own kind of mosaic that is all of it, life, divine, universe, whatever, spirit.
Your blip combined with their blip combined with their blip.
And what that does is it creates a larger picture where that your faith is not necessitated upon that picture, but it is enhanced by that picture. And so you don't need it, but your life is enhanced by the people around us. If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited to hear what
your
you
mind is going a million
well,
miles an hour.
I'm thinking about the need part to that, but I think there's a clear differentiation between community and mediator.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good work,
right,
to be done in this. Well, we've done some talking. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We should do some toasting.
I didn't have my afternoon coffee this morning, or this afternoon. So I know that I've done that the last few Wednesdays, and I've been
I know,
amped
you've come here like,
all
right, we're going to talk toast.
and right now I'm just feeling like I'm ready to go to bed.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, friends, I'm so glad that you all joined us tonight. We need to do some toasting. Can you start us off?
Yeah. Cheers to you, my friends. Wherever you are, whoever you're with, as you go from this place, may you remember that you and your spirituality are so much bigger and more comprehensive and more beautiful than anything that could ever try to mediate that. That God has placed in you, the divine has placed in you something beautiful and unique.
I like how you're going bigger in this, and I'm going to go smaller. And remember that you are but a speck, but every speck matters, and every speck is a part of this grand mosaic, and every speck is in a birthing process.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, friends.
I just got the alert that the Tigers won.
Oh, good. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Was I not supposed to tell you that?
It's all right. I was going to go watch some more of it in a little while.
Sorry.
No big deal. All right.
Got the alert. Stop.
I didn't get it. All right. Well, friends, we will see you.
Cheers, Kevin.
Kevin Yale. Oh my gosh. Boiling Springs. It's
All
good to see
right.
you, Kevin.
That's awesome.
And Jim says in Georgia, 62 degrees.
That joker probably rode his bike in that weather.
I like it.
It's
Well,
great.
friends, this was fun. Thank you.